Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Rebecca, aka Bella Bay. Welcome to my channel. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to share, comment, and like. In this channel, mostly I'm going to be speaking about my experiences with God, my experiences with life, yani everything in general. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to share. Okay guys, so today I'm going to be speaking about my experience with child labor, how my experience was, everything, and just to encourage someone who thinks that they cannot do it, that you can do it. If I did it, you can do it. Okay, so I was supposed to give birth in October 28th, but I ended up giving birth, November 13th. So when I went to the clinic 28th, they told me to come back at 11. When I went back in 11, they told me that because since when I did the scan on 11th, they told me that you're supposed to give birth today or tomorrow, but because you don't have any labor pains, just go back home. When you have labor pains, you'll come back. So I was like, okay, why not? I went home. I remember this is 11th, so on 11th at night, at evening to 5, my sister gave me a hot chocolate, like a drink, hot chocolate, and I drank. And this is where I started feeling like, after some time, I started feeling this pain, but it was from a distance. Okay guys, so after some times the pain was like the contractions were coming and going, coming and going. So I stayed, and at night, in the middle to 4 a.m., I told my mom like, hey, I feel like I'm having the labor pains. So she told me like, in the morning, make sure you take shower, we take things, we're going to be checking you to the hospital. I was like, okay. So in the morning, I wake up, my mom was like, do your thing, we are taking you. So I'm like, okay. When I went to the toilet, I found I was bleeding. I told my mom, look, I'm bleeding. She was like, we are going, girl, get going. So we left, me and my sister. My mom was to come, me and my sister and my cousin, God bless them. We left with them. While we are going, I was having pain, so I have to like stand for some minutes, breathe in because of the pain, and then we go. So we arrived in Pumwani. When we arrived in Pumwani, they told us that they cannot like have us because the doctors were striking, so there were no doctors. But I don't know what was it with my mom. She was like, no, my daughter is not giving birth to any other hospital, she's giving birth in Pumwani. And that was that, period. It's Pumwani. So my mom, like, under the water, paid some money, and I was given a bed. So just going to labor room, now this is an experience itself, because let me tell you, when you just enter this, it's like this place that every woman is in their own world. One is crying, one is cursing the husband, one is just screaming. And Pumwani, they need to change the setting of the whole thing, because in Pumwani, like when you go to this one room, it has 8 beds, 4 beds this side, 4 beds this side. So like me, I'm here, I can see the other woman giving birth, and it's scary. So for me, that's where everything started. I could see this and see that and be like, oh my god, oh my god, and my heart now is pounding, you see. So I go, I'm given this bed. We were 8 of us, and the first girl who gave birth, the baby dies, and they have to clean her, and you know they and I was like, oh Jesus, I'll be next, this is me, I'll be next, the same thing. And how that girl was crying in pain that they're hurting her. Oof. And the nurses in Pumwani, some of them, they're not nice. Like, if you're not a nurse, you don't have humanity in you, why be a nurse? Anyway, so after me, I was, for me, I was walking around, and mostly I used to go to the toilet because I felt like peeing all the time. I don't know why. So I used to walk, find women, they're telling me, oh, this is your first kid. You're like, yes. They're telling me, no, this is my third, this is my last, this is all that women, you know. So you come back and you're like watching everything. There was this woman who was next to me. She's like, I've been here since yesterday. I don't have pain, but this is my second child, so this is normal for me. So she waited this doctor to come and give her the medicine. That's when she started having the pain. And she just started walking. For me, I can say there was a moment, there was a period that I think I was numb, because I always don't remember myself at that particular moment because of everything that was going around me. I couldn't remember some moments. I was like just in this space that nothing was making sense to me, you see. So she started walking, and she would come to the bed and be like, and just cry and remove this thing, the robe, the dress they give you, because I don't know, you know, if you have never been in that moment, you cannot understand them. So I didn't understand her because I was never in that moment. Her removing, she wants to be naked, and the next thing, she's in the bed pushing her baby by herself. So when I'm standing, I'm like, oh my god, the baby is coming, the head is coming. Eh? Let me tell you, that was the first for me to see a head coming from the vagina. I was scared. I was scared. Now this is when reality was like, oh my god, this will happen to me? Yes. This is where everything just, I was scared. I was scared. So I called the doctor. The doctors came, they helped her to push. So I'm like, let me just walk outside. I'm just there, and everything just was those people who give birth in their own room. That is one thing I wanted. By I don't know what was it for money that my mom wanted me to give there. I do not understand. I wanted to give birth in modern, but anyway, everything was chaos. Everywhere you go, someone is screaming, all that. And this is now 12. Okay, I've already slept. Like, this is 12 at night. So everything still. And then at 12, at this 13 at 4 o'clock, not 4, it was like 12. Yes, 13, 12 at night a.m. There was this other girl who was in pain. But she was not like in pain. She was just walking, and I'm asking her, don't you feel any pain? She's like, no. She's telling me that I've been here for 3 days. These other women started saying, oh, maybe someone has amekufunga, like there's some like charms that has been thrown on you that you cannot give birth, blah blah blah. So she's like, I don't know, because she was a Kamba lady. So at night, this doctor comes and tells her, like, give me like money, I'll give you a medicine that will help you like give birth quickly. And that girl was like, okay. So she sent the money to his phone, and within minutes, this girl was screaming of pain, and she's screaming. And then the next thing, respect women, respect a woman. This girl was all over the floor screaming. She was in pain. And then she goes to the bed. This doctor now comes, the one who gave her the medicine, and is lying there and tells her, you have to push now. She's pushing. Mind you, she's in front of me, so I'm seeing the whole thing. She's just screaming, she's pushing. They're telling her, you have to push. Nothing. So this doctor goes to her womb here up, and she's like, the baby comes. Hey, now this is where me I nikaingiza baridi. I'm like now scared 100 times, because I'm like, oh my god, did you see that? The baby comes out. When the baby comes out, the umbilical cord was around the baby's neck, so they had to remove, but the baby was okay. So she gave birth. After some times, they took her to the ward. So we are like left with some girls, and there was this other girl who they tried giving, induced her with the water like 3 times, gave her the medicine, nothing, and she was in pain. This woman was in pain. She was screaming like the whole night. So they came, took her to the emergency for theater, and there was another one who came in, same thing, nothing. No, the baby wasn't coming, but they give her, they induced her, the medicine, nothing. And when the water broke, you could see that there was poo from the baby. I think the baby was too long inside the womb. So come in, they took her to the to theater. So at this time, because of everything, I'm scared. I tell my mom, like, Mom, I think I cannot do it. Please come and tell them to take me to the theater, because now in my head I'm like, this is the only easy way out. Okay, I'm like, just tell them to come and take me, because me, I cannot do it. And my mom is like, nothing? Since 2 days ago you haven't, nothing? Now this is 13 in the morning. And at 5 my mom was at the hospital. So before my mom comes, I'm like sitting on the corridor, because the whole thing is just too much. And I'm in pain now. Because they tell me, today is the 11th and 12th, 2 days. And they tell me I'm 6 centimeters. Like this thing of putting the hands to measure, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. That thing is painful. Like, woman introduce something else. Like, that shit is pain. To put the hand to measure? Yeah, that's, no way, it's painful. They tell me I'm 6 centimeters. I'm like, Mom, I'm 6 centimeters and I've been in pain for this long. There's nothing. She was like, I'm coming. I am coming. My mom, God bless her. God bless that woman. God bless her. So she came, but before she came, I was sitting on the corridor and there was this woman. Like, the corridor I'm sitting, I could see there was another room. Like, I'm sitting here, in front of me there's another room. So in that room it's open, you can see, like, you can see. So there's this woman who is going to the basin. She's trying to, you know how you push, you feel like you want to pull. She's trying to pull, and I think she goes back to the bed just by herself. And she's not screaming, she's just like, I'm watching her, the whole thing that she's doing. And she goes and covers herself and pushes the baby. The baby is there crying. Call the doctor to come and cut. Now, me, I'm panicking. Because mind you, still the pain, the shoutings, the everything is just, I'm panicking now. I was scared. I was so scared. So I'm in pain. And by now I'm in so much pain. So much pain. To this day I'm afraid of pain because of labor. So my mom comes, and outside she's making some things. She's like, how comes my daughter is here for this long and nothing? Did you induce her? Nothing. You haven't even checked on her. So she's like, if anything happens to her or my granddaughter, you will know me. You will know who I am. So they took her to an office and they asked, what is the name of your daughter? And she's like, Rebecca. So they come and ask her, who is Rebecca? And I'm like, it's me. So they come, they take me, and they asked me, how are you feeling? I told them I'm in so much pain. How much centimeters? I told them, now they measured me, I'm 6. That boy is like, he was like a boy. He's like, can I induce you? I'm like, I remember the stories. I was like, no, don't induce me. I do not want it. And he leaves. He goes and tells my mom that, oh, she don't want to be induced. My mom is like, since when a patient will tell a doctor what to do? Go back and induce her. It's not her to choose. So when he came back, I was like, no, I don't want. Like, even me, I'm trying to tell him off. So he calls some other doctors. These doctors come, they're trying to talk to me. And then this big woman, like the big doctor, comes and she's like, do you want to be induced? She was very direct, like, do you want to be induced? I was like, no. And she was like, okay, go down the bed, go here and sign this, and if anything happens to you or your child, it is not our responsibilities, okay? And I was like, no, induce me. If anything happens, no, my baby, long way, we come together a long way. How now I lose her? Induce me, they put it, did they put it here? I don't remember if it was here or it was wherever it was. But let me tell you, the first drop of that, whatever that is, I was screaming. Oh, the pain. Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ, I was screaming. The pain was too much. The pain was too much. I was crying, and I remember turning it off because the nurse left. I turned it off, and she comes and she's like, turns it on, and she leaves. I turn it off, and then she comes. She's like, "Are you the one turning it off?" I'm like, "Who? How can I turn it off and I'm in this too much pain?" And it's me. Let me tell you the pain I was in. Oh, I started removing my clothes. Now this is where you understand the other woman, why she was removing her clothes. I started removing my clothes. Oh, now it's my turn to scream and cry. And tears are more. Nothing. I am screaming. Now I'm kneeling down. I keep pain, women. Hey, I was crying and crying and crying. I am crying. So, because I was kneeling down and pushing, this girl tells me, no, you're not supposed to kneel down and push, just go to the bed. And I'm like, hey, go to the bed because you can give birth and the baby to fall on the floor. So I go back to the bed and I'm pushing. When I'm pushing, you feel like Kaka is coming. I remember it came. So this big doctor comes and says, like, remove these clothes for this woman, dress her well so that she can give birth in a good, like, bed, whatever. So they did that, but I'm in so much pain. I'm telling you, that pain, you don't remember things. So I was in pain. And mind you, this thing is not even a quart, it's some drops. And I was now the urge of pushing came. Like, now the baby's coming. I have to push. So when I start like pushing, there was this girl who came to check on me, like how many centimeters I was. She saw that I was 8 centimeters, and she was like, "Girl, you need to stop pushing." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Your cervix is coming out instead of the baby's head." So she's like, "If you continue pushing, you'll end up dying." And I'm like, "Oh God, how?" And she tells me instead, because my legs were open, like, sleep sideways. So I'm like, okay, I sleep sideways, but the urge of pushing, it's something you can never control. When it comes, you will push. So you're like, and then it goes. And she's like, "Girl, you're bleeding." Even she was like begging me, "Girl, you're bleeding. You'd end up killing yourself. You'd end up dying." So I'm like, oh God, what can I? I don't think if I remembered God that time. I don't think so. But God was with me. So they are like asking each other. There's these doctors who are coming. You can hear these voices behind you. The doctor is saying it's too late. We cannot take her to, because I was 8 centimeters, like 9 centimeters. They're like, it's too late. We cannot take her to the theater. Blah blah blah. We have to do something. So they're like, what can we do? Because this has to be quick. And I can hear them talking, but I was in pain and I was pushing, and they're telling me not to push because now I'm bleeding. They tell me, what can we do? So they are like, call the big doctor. This same woman comes and she looks at me, and now we have like a group of doctors and some interns who were like learning. They are there beside me. Everyone is just like peeing around, like checking at me. Those people who saw my vagina, no problem. So everyone is like peeing around just to see like what is happening, what's wrong. But me myself, by then I was so tired. I was so tired because, mind you, I haven't eaten. I wasn't feeling like eating from that time that I came. So this doctor comes and she looks and she's like, because my cervix was the one which was coming out, and my cervix was very hard. So this doctor is like, go bring something, and they like walinidunga kizungu, dirisha ilikuwa huko. So when they came and did that, this girl was like, the Nini told her, like, when she's pushing, try and hold, even if we'll have to cut her, and hold the cervix so that the head can come out. So this is when they told me push, and I pushed. It, ooh, it was so painful. It was so painful, and I pushed and I pushed, and I remember they were like, don't scream, because when you scream you'll waste the energy, and we need you to have that energy so that you can push the baby. So I'm like, and it's painful. It was so painful. Let me tell you, those women who give birth with no painkillers, we salute you. I salute myself. I did it. You can do it. So I'm there, I'm pushing, and then the head comes, and then they tell me, now push the last one, and I push, and the pain goes, I don't know where. When this baby comes out, where the pain goes, I actually don't understand. How does that thing work? And they remove the baby and put her here, and I hold her, and I remember just crying and happy. But she didn't cry. My baby didn't cry. So they waited for like some second minutes. They saw she was not crying. They took it from her. They took it. My baby, my one and only. They took it. They took her. They took it. They took her from me, and this doctor holds her and hits her and hits her, and then she cries. This is where she cried. This is where I heard her voice cry. And she cries, and I remember them like cleaning me up, and this doctor put her next to me. So they cleaned me up, changed the clothes, and they told me that now you have to be stitched. So they told me we have to take the baby to the incubator, because it was too long for her. There's some things that I don't know, I didn't understand, because I was tired. I had no energy, like even my vision was not good. I remember they brought something for me to sign. When I tried even writing, I couldn't see. I remember telling the girl, like, you write it for me, because I couldn't see. I was so tired, and I remember them taking my baby, and I followed that girl. And she told me, don't worry, because you remember from one, they had these stories that they do take kids and sell the kids. They can give you a kid that is dead, exchange. So I was like, my baby. She was like, don't worry, we just take her to the doctor to examine her, and then if she will be taken to the incubator, we will let you know. So I was like, okay. I went, they stitched me, they finished. I was like, my baby, I need my baby. So I'm going looking for her. I see her, and she's like, and she comes holding my baby. And this was the good news to me. To this day, I'm so thankful. And she tells me that the doctor examined your baby, and he said that your baby is okay. Woo! Let me tell you, that was like hearing news that you didn't expect. Because I remember at that moment I was like, God, I've given birth and my baby is being taken to the incubator. That was the last thing that I expected. But I did trust God at that moment. So when she brought that my baby and told me that no, she's not going to the incubator, she's okay, I was happy. My baby was quiet. We slept. That was the first time I slept in 2 days. Like to close my eyes and sleep. And yeah, that was my experience giving birth. To this day, I'm still traumatized with the whole experience, the pain itself, because from that time I became so afraid of pain. Like, pain is one thing that I'm scared of. So yeah, that was my experience giving birth. And anyone who is thinking they can, you can. You can.